What is up, everyone? Dan the Cardman back again. Welcome to another video. Now, this one is a bonus video, as you probably will notice for the regulars, that is. And that's primarily because I just want to talk through the great Curator again very, very quickly and give you my thoughts and clarify a few things from my video from the other day. So he's just got done doing a 2-hour live stream that I listened into while I was, on my lunch break, and then also while I was working, just listen to it in the background. And there's a few things that he's mentioned in there that I think are worth clarifying. Now, if you haven't seen it, please check it out. It basically goes on a tangent for an hour and a half before they start getting into the comments, and that's fine. But I think he's, muddied the waters a little bit with some of the things he was talking about. And he does acknowledge the fact that, these recent videos from Sports Card Radio and ARH Sports, as an example, have done good work for him. So he's primarily just giving back as good as he got, which is fair, right? This is the world we live in. You want to talk things or say things, you deserve to have some rebuttal, right? So that's good to see. And then he's also come out pretty hard against the haters as well, with all those, Instagram reels that he would have seen on Instagram if you do follow him. He did about 20 yesterday. It came across, pretty unhinged in my opinion, but it was good to see. And I did comment on that on one of his videos and one of his reels. I said basically it was good to see him leaning into it. I like the banter, but my one recommendation to him was maybe, don't just block people like he has been. And he went off on a tangent, had a look at my page, obviously saw that I made a video about him, and then he blocked me, then he unblocked me to give a response, and then he blocked me again, which again was pretty disappointing to see, because my whole, premise with this sort of stuff, and he very clearly didn't watch my video because I don't think it was all that bad. I think it was mainly, a talking point around, hey, when these guys are saying these things in their videos, maybe ask them questions, try and work out, what their intentions are. I didn't say he was pumping and dumping. I mentioned a few things that people have accused him of as an example, and then I said, I don't know the guy, I can't confirm or deny that he's doing these things. But when people, in videos say one thing and then a few months later they try to backtrack, that should tell you a little bit about those people in general and why you as viewers need to start asking those questions. And I think, the regulars on my channel can, attest to those things and say, Daniel, you do those things pretty regularly. You're not hating for the sake of hating. So just basically his response to me was pretty clear that he hadn't seen my video. But I guess the big issue here that I have, not with him as a person, but just with how he approaches himself, and I really want to understand what his logic is behind this, because he didn't really clarify it in the live today when I did ask him again, is that, he's doing himself no favors the second he starts blocking people for being negative or anything like that. Or if somebody asks him a question that he doesn't like, he will block them and then ban them. And that was a bit weird, because initially in his video, he basically said, I don't care whether your comment is positive or negative, it's good for my attraction, it's good for my, growth, all this sort of stuff. But you obviously do care because you're blocking people. And I understand the need to block people that are being truly hateful and they're swearing and they're saying, pretty disgusting things, because I cop that myself. I don't block anyone personally, but that stuff does happen. So I can understand why somebody would feel the need to block that. What I can't comprehend is why he feels the need to block people when they're challenging him. Because as the regulars will know on this channel, and you see the comment section on every single one of my videos, I get challenged all the time. And part of that opportunity to grow and educate people, and to educate yourself as in an individual getting better, is having that open dialogue with the people down in the comment section. If somebody has an opposing view to me, I don't shun them away. I sit down and talk with them. And I just don't understand why some people feel a bit hesitant to do that. And I'm not sure where he's coming from either, because he doesn't appear to be a guy that is afraid of confrontation, in the sense that, he's a lawyer. He works in, he's essentially a divorce attorney, if I remember correctly. So even just being a lawyer, that's your job, right? Communicating with people and debating people with opposing views. I would have thought that would have been his prime, real estate, to try and do that sort of stuff. That would have been his, prime directive, in the sense that he'd be willing to engage with people like that. So that's my one knock on the guy, right? I really wish he would, embrace that a little bit further and start having this chat. Don't just block people, because then it gives people opportunities to start asking legitimate questions about you. Maybe he's not a pumper. Maybe he's not a hype merchant, all these things, right? Maybe he is a good guy. I'm not saying he isn't any of these things. I'm not saying he is any of those things, but I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. When you've got people accusing you of those things, but then you're also banning people to asking slightly, very basic questions, you're giving them, fuel for the fire in that sense. So I would really wish if he could, embrace that chat. And as a few people mentioned on his chat, and I did mention to him, with those reels yesterday where he was really leaning into going after trolls, it's really good to see him embracing that, because it's part of the banter. Lean into it and use that to your advantage. But a part of the way you can use that to your advantage is to also then have dialogue with people in your comments. When you don't have that dialogue, it doesn't look good on your part, in my opinion. And he's probably got a legitimate reason for that. I would really appreciate if he unblocked me so I could actually understand that a bit further from him, because I think he would do a lot better with regards to his content creation and getting people to buy into him, and not getting people to hate on him because they think he's a shill and a hyper and all these sorts of things. I think he'd win a lot of favor and a lot of love if he took that step back and started having this dialogue. He doesn't have to respond to the comments, but just leave them there. Just being controlling and conveying the narrative to suit your own agenda doesn't look good. And he might not be doing it from that lens, but the people, like I said, in the comments can rightfully ask those kinds of questions. The other issue that I took with his live as well, and with his reels yesterday, is that he was essentially lumping everybody that had an opposing view to him as a troll and or being incredibly negative. Again, this is not a good thing. There's no such thing as, either or, right? There's gray. People can, like your content and like you as a person, but not agree with your approach on something. That doesn't mean you should block them, right? I've said before, I really like his original content. When he was doing those informative videos where he was teaching people the art of the deal, when he was, first starting out around what was to collect and all this sorts of stuff, it was really enjoyable. He seemed really humble. So I'm not now sure if we're seeing the real him on camera where he's a little bit brash, and that's fine again. Like, you can watch whoever you want, right? But where he's being a bit more brash and seems to be very different to what he was initially doing, I'm not sure like which one is the real person, but I would really like him to try and get back to embracing that sort of original stuff that he was doing, because, being open, being, not so dismissive with people that have opposing views is a good thing. So I would really like to see him, jump back into that. It looks as though AIH Sports is going to do a live stream with this with someone on Friday. There's a special guest coming. I'm not sure who it is. I would not be surprised if it is Coach Co and Sports Card Cartel, or even Sports Card Radio. That would be a huge thing in my opinion. But it was really good to see a lot of chat today in the comment section of the Great Curators live. He basically went pretty hard at Sports Card Radio, so I think we're going to see a response from them. At the end of the day, I think it's all banter, right? And like Dan said in his video today in his live stream, like, if you want to give it, you got to take it, and that's part of the process. Just enjoy it, sit back and enjoy the content. But I would really appreciate if the way he's grouping things together shifts from everybody's a troll because you're a hater, or hang on a minute, this guy might not like what I'm doing right now, but I can see that he actually has some good points. I want to have a chat with this person to understand a bit more, to see how I can win them over as a fan, or maybe just understand things a little bit better, so maybe I can tweak my content to make sure that these gaps or these accusations don't come at me again. That's what I want to see, and that's the main purpose that I put these videos together. I know he wasn't talking about me specifically in those videos, or in his live stream, I should say, about negative videos and things like that. Like, I think my content speaks for itself. I'm pretty open and balanced in most of my videos. My videos are targeted towards, trying to get people to be a bit more protected in the hobby and try not to get taken advantage of by these scammers and by these influencers that are out there, literally trying to, burn them to line their own pockets. Again, I'm not accusing Dan, the Great Curator, of anything like that myself, but when you see these sorts of things in his videos where he's so targeted to who he wants to go after and who he wants to block and things like that, and he's making sure he's got this one viewpoint, again, those things speak for themselves, even though it might not be his true intention. So if there's anything to learn, it's to, maybe not do that in the future, right? It's just very odd to see it be so one-sided, in my opinion. Embrace the dialogue, embrace the hate. Go with it, run with it. You'll get a lot more love. You'll get a lot more respect from these people that accuse you of doing things as well. So I think that's it for this video. It went for a bit longer than I thought, to be honest. I just wanted to clarify those few thoughts. Again, I'm not here to hate on people. I'm not here to go after people. I'm here to, try and educate people, have some discussion going, how we can get some dialogue going so we can, make the hobby a better and more inclusive space. There's nothing wrong with raising these kinds of questions. There's nothing wrong with questioning why influencers, say they're not doing X, Y, Z, but then change their mind in the same live stream to say, no, they are pumping, which again is fine, but embrace it. Don't hide away from it. Embrace it. We need to be calling people out, for the things that they misspeak on. We need to be calling people out for their bad deeds, right? It's unacceptable. It's especially unacceptable when people get burned. I know Dan, the Great Curator, basically said, well, it's not his job to make sure that the people that are watching his videos, don't get ripped off. And again, it's not, but you have somewhat of an obligation, like I've said in the past, to make sure that, you're presenting all the facts to the people that are watching your videos, right? And yes, people are naive and that's their fault, but at the end of the day, we need to be doing whatever we can to try and make that experience as good as we can for them. I know I'm rambling, as I always do, but I think you guys got the gist of this video. Just wanted to clarify those few thoughts. Please check out his live stream. There was a few interesting elements in there. It went for quite a long time. He did ramble for quite a long time, and it seemed very one-sided, as his videos often are. I would really like to understand why he blocks these comments, because they're not all one and the same. Not everybody that has a differing point of view to you is a hater. You then saying that again raises questions of you, and I've already said that in this video, but you guys get the point. Now, thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for my video on Friday. It's gonna be pretty interesting, so stay tuned for that. This was just a bonus video for this week. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.